One would ask the question, you had opportunities on multiple occasions to put yourself in a situation to go after the chip and instead elected to go after the money. To that you say
With
what?
who though? Who was my options?
Well, again,
The Miami situation, that was just an idea, right? That wasn't even, that was just an idea stages, right? And I was about to sign shortly after that conversation, right? The New York Knicks situation, I was going to Chicago. Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, I was there, right? I was there. And then I started getting whispers behind the scenes. Yo, look, this person ain't gonna be there. It ain't really right. This and that. And it was all of that started to come up in the midst of my decision making. I wasn't gonna let anything cloud that. I met with New York last. They was the last team I met with because I knew that I was ready to move on from that situation because of what I was dealing with and going through in New York. After that, I met with New York, the last meeting, and said, tell me what you're going to do for the organization, for us to put a team together to go compete and try to win. That was my conversation with them. There's a lot of things that was promised, a lot of things that was said. And I said, you know what? Because I belong in New York, I'm going to roll with you. I'm going to roll with you.
That sounds great. It's believable. But the flip side to it is that people will look at it and they will say, Carmelo Anthony, you've been in the league for 16 years. You've been to one conference championship. You've never played in an NBA Finals. Your man, LeBron James, 9 NBA Finals, 3 championships. D-Wade, your other brother, 5 NBA Finals appearances, 3 championships.
Can't compare.
That's right. Can't compare. How do you feel about that? How does that make you feel, particularly when you're in their presence?
As a competitor, it makes me feel like, damn, why not me? What's going on? But on the flip side of that, I've never been put in those situations before. I've never had the teams that LeBron James has had. I've never had the teams that D-Wade has had. I've never had the teams that a lot of these stars out there has had. It was always been me.
But what responsibility do you have with that? Because one could argue, even though you ended up forcing your way out of New York, you could have potentially done that sooner.
They forced me out of New York.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, people like me were begging you to leave or what have you. But you wanted to stay in New York, even when it was clear they were not going to be a part of the championship equation.
Right. I was naive. I believed in them so much that
you believed in the New York Knicks. I want to make sure outside the pause.
I believed in what I was saying.
Okay.
What was told to me.
Okay.
I believe what was told to me, and I was naive to anything else. I felt comfortable. I was home. I was on my square in New York, and I wanted that. Nobody else wanted that. So I wanted to do something that was special in New York. I was putting all the chips on everybody else to say, yo, give me somebody, give me some people here, put something around me, and then let's give me a fair chance to see what's going on.
Right now, as you sit here, you're free to land anywhere else. Damian Lillard, star guard for the Portland Trail Blazers, just became the first $250 million player in the NBA. 6 years, $250 million for the Portland Trail Blazers, and deserves it.
He deserves it.
He tweeted out that he was in support of you having a farewell tour, but then I spoke to him directly, and he was like, really, it's not even about that. I just think he was done wrong. This is a guy that should be in the league. Don't tell me that Carmelo Anthony shouldn't be on an NBA roster.
Right.
But you ain't in Portland.
Right.
LeBron James in LA. They got Anthony Davis. They had Kuzma. They needed to build a roster. They had about 11 roster spots to fill. You ain't there.
Right.
CP3 is in Oklahoma City. Had he gone to Miami, he probably would have made sure they took you there. But you're looking at guys in the league that are perceived as having the necessary clout to have you on a roster. Does it strike you as a tad bit odd that you're not on a roster considering the amount of friends that you have that would speak up on your behalf?
It strikes me that I'm not on the roster along with, due to my talent first, right? Due to my skill, knowing what I can still bring to this game, right? You mean to tell me it's 30 teams in the NBA, I can't make a 15-man roster out of 30 teams in the NBA? That's why I start to like, think about this a lot more. 30 teams, I can't make a 15-man roster in this NBA.
Well, part of it is the game, but the other part is the politics. In other words,
Right.
yeah, you better than at least 10 to 15. I would argue, obviously, better than that. But at least the 10th to the 15th man of the roster, definitely you're better than all of those guys. The flip side is because of your resume, because of your pedigree and history, could he accept a lesser role? To that, Carmelo Anthony says what?
1,000%. And I had to do that. I had to do that in Oklahoma City. That was a whole totally different role. I had to accept a role that I wasn't willing to accept at that point in time. And I wasn't willing to accept that role of coming off the bench in Houston because that never was relayed to me. It was, you are the piece that we need to get us over the hump, to win a championship. I went in there with that mentality. Yo, we need Melo to come in here to get us over this. I watched it. I watched the previous year. I saw where I can plug myself in that. And I really believed that we were going to do that. But when I get there, it was something totally different. The dialogue started getting less and less. It was no more conversations. It was just doing, and then I got to react to the things that's being done. Look on the board, your name is not on the board. Damn, why my name not on the board? All right, cool. I accept that. Let me move on. All right, you're not gonna start tonight. All right, cool. Hey, you should have told me that. Like, let me feel it. I've never done this before. I've never come off the bench before. I've never done that, except for USA team. But that's something to tell you. You got the 12 best players in the world on one team. You telling me that you want me to come off the, like, communicate that with me.
Thank you so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.